Hello, welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to be friends. Get your gaming goodness every Monday. My name is Don Blight. Joining me on the couch this way, it's just Ashley Hobley again.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here on the couch this week.
I was stretching my vocal cords, you know? Just warming them up. That's what you got to do when you record about 16 podcasts a day. You
put out 100 podcasts a week. You need to make sure your vocal cords are nice and stretched.
That's right.
Here, Explosion Network, it's all about quantity.
Yeah. Quantity over less quantity, that's for sure.
Quantity over no
quantity. Yeah. You know what we're saying. Yeah. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Today on the show, I got a couple previews to talk about from LudoNaraCon last week. New Pokémon Snap talk about back end of the show. And then we got a couple of news stories, including a lot to do with the big companies. I mean, really, we've got two EA stories, an Activision story. Anyway, let's get into it. Firstly, run down these two previews that I posted, of course, ExplosionNetwork.com. The first was for Lake. Played the demo for Lake. Now, I couldn't remember exactly where this game was shown. It was during one of those shows. You know the ones. Yep. You know the ones that where we got 100 of last year, the indie showcases. Anyway, this is one of those games, and the game's premise is that you are a delivery driver. You are driving a mail truck around, and then I remember when it was shown, everyone was like, "Man, this is some high quality memes."
You had to narrow it down a bit because there were a number of ones where people just drive cars around.
That's true.
There were a lot of road trip games announced last year.
Yes. So this one, you play as this character who's like her parents are. It's something like they're going on a holiday for 2 weeks, and she's agreed to come to her hometown and do the family business for the 2 weeks, which is the driving around the mail truck in this small, sort of middle of butt-fuck nowhere American town. Like the whole town's centered around this big-ass lake. I guess that's why it's called Lake. And the core gameplay, at least in what I played, is delivering ladders. It's delivering packages. It's driving to people's houses. There's no combat or anything like that, unsurprisingly. But the hook for the game and the way you'll enjoy this game is it is that sort of relaxing vibe. Like you can put on the radio as you're driving around and enjoy just drive around, listen to some cool relaxing tunes and stuff like that. But the hook for the game that'll get you interested is I was going to say story, but it's less so the story and more the characters that you're actually interacting with. So every time you go deliver a big package, you have to drop off random letters, but they don't really have moments where you interact with people for the most part because you're just dropping them in their mailboxes, obviously. But it's when you have to drop off packages that you'll interact with the people whose houses you're dropping them off. And because this is the town that you grew up in, I'm trying to remember the character's name here. I've got it written down here somewhere. Already forgot. Instead of just saying that character a million times. Meredith, there you go. So because this is the town that Meredith grew up in, a lot of people that you're bumping into is people that she knew from her childhood, for better or worse. And you can tell there's a lot of back history there that hasn't been discussed and so on and so forth. There's a scene in the demo I got to where I went to deliver a package, and it turned out the person I was delivering the package to was a ex-best friend who very much, it sounded like, wasn't very happy that you left and sort of abandoned her, or, that sort of thing. And you have this discussion where she's like, oh, maybe we should catch up. And she's like, maybe, or maybe not, kind of thing. So there's a lot more to that going on there. There's some comedic ones too. Like if you're watching the video version, I went to drop off this package that very clearly looks like a bear. And I got to the lady's house and it has a cat mailbox and there's about 10 million cats in the front yard. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm delivering this freaking bear to a crazy cat lady. And you have voice or
to clarify,
speech.
A teddy bear.
It's a teddy. Yeah, sorry, teddy bear, not an actual bear.
Not an actual bear. I was disappointed when I switched over to have a look. It wasn't this massive brown bear.
No, it's a teddy
Grizzly.
bear. So you have conversation choices though. So, but what I found quite funny is that in this part of the game or in the demo, you could play it like a complete ass. Like you could play the "Hey, crazy cat lady, here's your delivery," or you could be like super kind and nice. Like, and there's a couple other times too where you can sort of be nice or an ass or anything like that. Ultimately, the game is you're doing one day at a time. The game takes place over 2 weeks. We already know the developers have said the game's going to end after that 2 week period. How many other random things are thrown in on a day-to-day basis and what changes things up, I'm not quite sure at this stage. But at the moment, in like the hour I played, I was very much enjoying it. I would have happily kept playing if it was a full release. And like I had the typical bugs and whatever else is, and they give you that warning at the start with like, this is an unfinished game, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. I'm not going to judge you too harshly on the texture pop-ins and shit like that at this point in time. Like there's enough here that I would keep playing. But if you're someone who the idea of just driving around dropping off packages sounds like the most boring game ever, then obviously this isn't going to be something for you. Does any of this sound like it would pique your interest or?
Maybe. I guess. Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting, like a relaxing experience, like kind of like driving around, experiencing all these different stories. Around this town. I don't know.
Yeah, there's it sounds like by the end of the game, you'll probably have to make a choice of, if I was to guess, it's whether or not that Meredith stays in that town or not, would be my guess. Because at the start of the game, it opens with a cutscene where she's a web developer or a program developer or something like that, and you can get the idea that she's just being run down at a job in the big city. So it seems like maybe if you make enough like right choices and you make friends with people over that 2 weeks, or you get enough connections there, ending A is she chooses to stay there and live out a life. Ending B is she's like, thank fuck this job's over and I could go back to the big city kind of thing. So, but I'm intrigued to play more when the full release is out. And then the other thing I played was the Tunic demo, because they put up. Yeah. This is the one we played. We could have played at PAX Oz 2018.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yes, it wasn't the last one; it was the one before. So.
It was the same year Kingdom Hearts was at PAX.
Yes, so quite a long time ago. And I played the demo there, but because they didn't reset the demo, I was quite confused. I only played it for like 5 minutes or whatever, and I was like, okay, like it's a cute little fox, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing and all that sort of thing. Whereas obviously this time I got to play it from the start, and I could get a better idea of what the game's trying to do. The only thing I'll say for this is because this demo is so old and we know it's so old, I can't help but wonder how much has possibly changed in the years since development. I know it's one person working on it with maybe some help from others or something like that, but you still can't help but wonder in the amount of years, like how much visually has this changed, how much gameplay wise has this changed, like is this a slice of life, is this an actual part of the game? I don't know. Either way, you get an idea of what the actual game is. And what the game is someone went, I like Zelda and I like Demon Souls, and let's combine those things to a degree. They both work. I wouldn't get scared by the Demon Souls influence either. You're not going to die, or at least in what I played so far, you're not going to die any faster than you would in a normal Zelda game, which is that, if enemies hit you a couple times, your hearts get depleted, the same as they would if you was playing Link, and then you'll die. So far, at least in the demo, the combat wasn't any harder than your typical Zelda game. However, they do have a thing where the checkpoints, you sort of rest at them, and if you rest at a checkpoint, your health gets refilled, enemies respawn, however, and then if you die, you drop the currency you're dropping like you would in a Souls game, and you can go back and get it off enemies. However, if you rest, of course, the currency will deplete. So I'd say the Souls influences aren't anything that you should be scared of if you're someone who doesn't really like Souls games, but you like Zelda games, and so it's just like, don't get too stressed out over those influences, at least based off what I've played here. I don't know if the boss fights suddenly turn into a world ending, like the hardest fucking boss fights you've played in a Zelda like inspired game before, but other than that, it is literally you're playing as a little fox character who has a green tunic on, So if it wears the Zelda Link influences very much on the sleeve, you can tell everything's inspired by it. And in the demo, you start by getting a wooden stick, and then you go to getting a sword. You solve a handful of puzzles. You fight a couple of enemies. The combat is the same as in a typical Zelda game, where you can click one button to lock onto enemies, and you can do like a dodge roll, and you swing your sword to attack, and that's about it. You get a shield later. You can block with a shield. It'll break after enough hits. Blah 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 blah. So if you've played a Zelda game, and I don't mean 3D Zelda games. Also, this one of course plays more like your top-down Zelda games, like the Game Boy ones and stuff like that. That's obviously what this one will play more like. Then you will know what you're in for Tunic. I would say that based solely, this demo would have been much more impressive years ago than when it was like playing it now. As I think it's also just because we've heard about this game for so long, and we just haven't had details for years now, basically, that I played the demo. I was like, I feel the same as I would have if I didn't play the demo. Like, playing the demo didn't get me any more excited. It didn't ruin the hype for me. It was literally cool. Yep. But it also just made me wonder what's it going to do more so than just be a game that's very obviously influenced by Zelda and Souls-likes. Because at least in the demo, it doesn't do anything particularly unique. Like, the art style's cute, Fox is cute, but gameplay-wise, it's not really doing anything unique. Like, if I played this in Dreams, I'd be like, that's fucking impressive. Yeah, because it's Dreams, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, obviously, the thing that could be interesting is, like, obviously they've got the language, like mystery language thing.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There's some sort of mystery or something involved in that you have to figure out, or puzzles involved in that. So, but yeah, obviously it's a game that we've been waiting for a while to get more information about. And obviously this demo's pretty much the same as it's been going around. So, but I mean, for them to put it back out again, it means that they're probably further along, or at least closer to release, you would think.
Yeah, maybe Xbox E3 could be, I don't know, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for us to finally see
Shadow Drop.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I could Shadow Drop something like this, because it's been so long. It's funny because...
Why not? It's coming on Game Pass. It doesn't...
Yeah, that's true.
You don't need to build up to a Game Pass release.
They announced it for Xbox One. They're like, oh, this is going to be Xbox One console exclusive. I'm like, man, we're on to the next console by now. What are we doing? Come on. Yeah. Is this something that interests you at all, or...?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely keen for Tunic, so hopefully you can get it on PC Game Pass.
I assume it will be on there, because it's coming. It's got a Steam page or whatever, so...
It's got a Steam page, yeah. Before I forget, I didn't put it in the notes, but I checked out a demo from LudoNaraCon as well. I checked out Game Director Story. I only played like half an hour or so of it, but it's like a visual novel kind of game about, a team of game developers. Apparently inspired by actual events at different game studios and stories from industry veterans. You play as like the game director. All the characters in the game are like plush toy animals. Like the player character is like an owl who's got like button eyes and stuff. So, but it plays more like...
Sounds creepy.
It's like, you're not like an office or anything. It's like currently nowadays, all the story takes place in like Slack messages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're having discussions over chat and messages and that kind of thing. And you're just sort of making choices and that kind of stuff. Interesting. I really enjoyed the art style, and like there were hints at potentially being very interesting. The big plot point is, we've got suddenly been thrust into an E3 showcase. And like you have to decide, are you going to show like some sort of gameplay, which would mean that you have to pare down what you're going to do in the future, or do you just show like an arty-farty like title card?
And that's the plot of that God of War documentary.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I'm really keen to check it out when it's fully done.
Yeah, I still have some of those demos installed, as long as they didn't
I hope they're still playable.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I actually haven't checked. I wanted to cover more, but I had too many hours at the day job, so that kind of fucked me. But them's the breaks. So I picked 2 to play Yeah.
Grace.
Got him. Pick 2 to play. There's one other. If I can get it here. If I can find it real quickly. Fuck it. We'll do it. We'll do it live.
Do it live.
Do it live. So installed locally. Here we go. So there's some game called it had like this insane art style. I can't remember. Oh, this one. Welcome to Beacon Pines. This one. It still says I can play it, so it doesn't say the demo's been automatically deleted. It's got this.
Yeah, but I feel like last time I had some demos like it. You'd load it and then you would be able to play it. It was like the time for the demo was ended.
Well, in case I can't play it and talk about this in the future, just if everyone listens.
But I will say at time of recording the game story one, the demo was currently still available to play.
Okay.
Download. So maybe some of them will stay up some point. So.
Hopefully. Yeah, because this was the next one on my list. I just haven't had time because I've had to play other shit as well now. So it's like get kind of annoying. But I will say, even though I didn't get to play as much as I want, it's a cool convention. This is the second time, obviously it started for the first time last year. That in case you don't know from the title, that their focus is it's a games con around games that focus on narrative. In case you didn't get the narrative, in case you didn't get the pun of the name there. They had a bunch of Steam demos available. They had a sale on. They had panels,
so
live
Beacon
shows.
Pines demo I can currently download right now. So
okay, cool.
I'd say you can still play it.
There you go.
So look forward to discussion about that.
Yeah, hopefully I'll play
Very
it
cool
before next one. Yeah, because it's the art style that I'm all about. I like it. Looks really, really cool.
Very children's storybook. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot darker than that. So find out. All right, let's get into the news. What news stories we got? I'll talk about this on here before it drops. When's it drop now? Wednesday morning or whatever it is. Apex Legends Season 9. But more so than any other regular season, they're introducing a brand new mode. So Kotaku writes, Apex Legends is getting an arena mode. Apex Season 9 starts next week. Ahead of its launch, developer Respawn detailed the game's upcoming arena mode, which sees 2 teams of 3 face off in a series of rounds. As detailed in a blog post, arena will be a permanent mode. Players can be revived if knocked down, but not respawned. Rounds end when an entire enemy team is killed. Teams will, quote, need to win at least 3 rounds and be ahead of the enemy team by 2 points, end quote, with the team going into extra rounds if needed, culminating in a sudden death mode. If the match gets into 9 rounds, it all sounds a bit convoluted to me. But the developers write, that's what they said, not me, it's not convoluted. Our new rule set, quote, our new rule set takes a bit of getting used to, but prevents total blowout games from dragging on for too long. It also lets more competitive games keep the heat going for longer and gives teams a chance to come back and win. So I don't think it's complicated. It's basically first to 3, but you got to be 2 up. So you can win. You can win at 2. Yeah. You can. The earliest you can win is round 3. If you win. If you lost and then win. Right. Yeah, no, that's what I meant. So it'd be round 4. Yeah, round 4, sorry. But yeah, that's right, isn't it? Am I confusing myself? Yeah.
3 is the smallest.
So yeah, 3. If you win 3, if you
won 3 in a row,
if you won 3, yeah, I was trying to say if you lost one, like what would be the earliest? So it'd be
4.
Yeah, otherwise you can win 3 in a row and you just smash face. But they're saying that you can't. But if you're trading back and forth, you win 1, they win 2.
So if you won 2, if you both won 2, you win. They win 1.
Yeah.
To get to 3, they would have to win another 1.
Ultimately, it doesn't drag on forever though, because if you get to round 9, sudden death, someone has to win.
Yeah.
So,
if it's 4 old, it's first to 5.
Yes. It's not that complicated, even though we've made it sound complicated.
Yeah.
They continue. Players will start each round with some basic equipment and materials, which are also earned free kills, all found around the map. Materials are used to buy basic weapons, upgrade their levels, and buy supplies like grenades and healing items. Respawn says, quote, getting a weapon gives you the base gun with no attachments. Weapons can be upgraded to white, then blue, and finally purple. Upgrading a weapon equips it with all available attachments of that tier. Fully upgrading to purple will fill out the hop-up slot for the weapons that you have. Weapons don't carry over between rounds, with Respawn writing that this is, quote, to free players up to swap weapons freely between rounds and to prevent matches from snowballing too hard after 1 or 2 rounds. Ultimate and tactical abilities will also be limited in Arena, but additional charges and ultimate abilities can be purchased with materials when customizing your loadout. Then the Arena maps themselves, they got several here. There's two of the maps, Phase Runner and Party Crash, are 2 brand new maps, and then you've got 3 existing maps, Kings Canyons, Artillery, Thermal Station from World's Edge, and Olympus's Golden Gardens were the maps. They're not all dropping at launch though. I've read somewhere else that I think they're starting with 3 or something like that, and then they're rotating after a couple of weeks or something like that. So basically, this is Apex Legends / Respawn's attempt at doing their Counter-Strike or Valorant inspired gameplay mode. However, this one interests me a lot more because the problem with Counter-Strike, and I could never really get into it, is because, and the same reason that I struggled with Valorant, is because just mechanically those games play so much different to your typical first-person shooters. Like, it's about, stopping when you shoot, and it's not fast-paced. There's no sliding. You don't jump and shoot. Your fucking bullet will go sideways, kind of thing like that. It's all, like, mechanically it just plays completely different. So the fact that they're introducing a mode similar to those, a more competitive, straight-up mode that you can play in smaller bursts or whatever with the Apex Legends mechanics, I think is super exciting. I think all of the rules they've outlined make sense. I think, obviously, I'm sure in the first month they'll easily be like, this character is a bit too broken, or, like, I'm sure there'll be nerfing and fixes that have to take place depending, and that's just what you have happen when you have a game like this where different characters have different abilities and you're adding the mode in to a game that already exists. You're not like, this isn't how the game's coming out where they're doing a bunch of testing prior and stuff like that. So, but I'm super keen. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to try it out, and maybe this is the one that gets us into like a more competitive, like, not battle royale, and it works as like a gateway drug that you want it to eventually get me to play Battlefield, whatever. But yeah, it definitely sounds very inspired by the CS:GO and those kind of games, of like the multiple rounds and like buying. Do you spend all your money at the start, or do you save up so you can get stronger stuff further down the line? It will be interesting to see how the balancing of characters works, whether they try and find a way to balance them perfectly for this and for the Battle Royale mode, or do they just cut their losses and like have characters play slightly different for each mode?
In my opinion, they should always still focus on developing the game as a battle royale, because that's what the game is, and that's where the core fan base is going to rely. And then if they need to tweak a character because their abilities just are a bit too broken or something like that in Arena, they then tweak them after the fact. It's not try and make them fit both worlds. It's like, just develop the character for the main mode, and then have a different team that's like, okay, well, how's this work in Arena kind of thing. And I think the other thing that helps is, because when there was a lot of rumors of this at first, it was, it's just going to be custom maps that are more typical hallway shooter type stuff that you would see in CSGO and that sort of shit, like more tighter maps. That's not the case. The maps apparently are still huge, not the full map, but they're still quite big, and they get smaller as the rounds come in. Like, that's how it works. So they're still carrying over that element of the core Apex experience of, you start, what happens when you start an Apex Legends map? You've got the whole map, land wherever you want. That's round 1 in Arena. What happens by the time you get to the top 3 teams? You're now in a small, tight place. You've got to fight. And that's how Arena works as well. By the time you get to round 9, it's like, fight. Like, you're kind of face to face. You've got to do this. It's all over now. So I think that maybe will help with some of the, like, because you've got Valkyrie coming in, who comes in with this season as well, and her ultimate is a ability that lets her shoot off into the sky with a jetpack, and also lets teammates grab onto her. And you can then all shoot up into the sky, and it's basically like a free
jump pad
or a balloon,
balloon.
Yeah, it's like she's got a free balloon, which I'm like, well, in this mode, is that fucked? Like, I just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll have to see.
It's like Lifeline's ultimate.
Yeah,
are you gonna have enough time for you to power that up to drop that?
Yeah, probably not.
And even if you do, what's the point if all those things are going to go away at the end of the round?
So it's like, maybe you would just never spend money on her ultimate to unlock it.
Or
I guess
someone said, Pathfinder is
his ultimate.
Really gonna
his ultimate boring as well.
Not really useful for a small space.
Very quickly, it's going to be which characters are best for arena and which ones are kind of not silly. But that doesn't mean I think they should be like, oh, in arena, this character's ultimate's changed. It's like, no, just it's fine. Just we'll see how we go. Anyway, it's keen. I like that they've added this. It's just free. It's like you don't have to buy this as an expansion or DLC. Yeah. It's a brand new mode that it seems like it's a fully. I know there's only 6 maps, so maybe it's not a fully fledged experience that people would buy, but it's like building upon what they've already got. I think it's really cool expansion of Apex as a whole.
And then obviously 6 players, it won't split the player base too much, you would think. So it makes it more difficult to get games.
No, I don't think it really shouldn't. And I guess the other thing is you've got crossplay and everything now. That would also help. That's probably why they wanted that in. I'm sure when they were developing in this and planning what should happen first, it's like, we should make sure we have crossplay before we start adding arena or whatever they would talk about. Yeah, other game modes. So we can have that fill if people need it. And I can definitely see it's like a thing where we hop on and it's like, oh, do you want to play a couple rounds of arena to start off with and then just jump into Battle Royale? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, or is it going to be the opposite way where it's, let's do some Battle Royales and then am I going to be ending my night with, let's do some arena rounds now? Or like,
we need a win. So give it a 1 and 2 shot.
Which is going to feel more exciting. I still think winning actual Battle Royale's going to be surely more thrilling than winning arena. Yeah. Because the chances of winning arena are probably, a lot higher or whatever. They're
like a 50-50 chance.
It's a more competitive mode. So, yeah, exactly. Anyway, Keen, that starts this week. Probably going to stream it, I guess. I haven't really said that, but I guess that's the thing that will happen this week. So subscribe or follow, whatever it's called. Do both. Twitch.tv/Explosion Network. We'll be streaming Valkyrie and the new season and everything later this week. Probably on, if it drops, I don't know. Wednesday or Thursday, I don't know. One of those days. All right. Gamasutra writes, Activision turns Crash 4 dev into Warzone support studio, denies layoff rumors. Crash Bandicoot 4 developer Toys for Bob has confirmed it's supporting development on Call of Duty Warzone, rumors of layoffs at Activision-owned studio. In a tweet posted yesterday, the studio said that it will be assisting with development of Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone, with the popular free-to-play Battle Royale mode having recently passed 100 million players. It's currently unclear if this will be the studio's main role moving forward. The change in direction has raised questions over the current state and future of the studio, which has previously worked on remakes and sequels to classic Activision franchises, including Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot 4 Insane Trilogy, and Crash Bandicoot 4. Some former employees and contractors have indicated that the pivot came at the cost of layoffs. Nicholas Cole, who worked as a contract character artist on Spyro Reignited and Crash Bandicoot 4, claimed that, quote, everyone I interfaced with and worked along with was let go. I'm very glad it's not totally shattering. Spyro and Crash game designer Blake Maloof, who spent over a decade at the studio according to their LinkedIn profile, corroborated these rumors on Twitter, adding, quote, I no longer work for Toys for Bob. And the update to the story, Activision has confirmed Toys for Bob is on hand to support development of Call of Duty Warzone, but denies the studio experienced recent layoffs due to its shift, saying, quote, reports of layoffs at Toys for Bob are incorrect. The development team is operating fully and has a number of full-time job openings at this time. The studio is excited to continue supporting Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and more recently provide additional development support to Call of Duty Warzone. What do you think about all this, Ash?
Listen, Call of Duty has needed help getting their platforming right these last couple of games, so I'm really glad that they're coming in. They're going to add more furry creatures in the game, so we can look forward to that. No, this is just an odd story. I mean, we all thought Insane, like, I thought Crash Bandicoot for about time did reasonably well in sales. Obviously, debuted in number 1. Reading here, game made number 1 in the UK sales charts, selling 1,000 copies more than Star Wars Squadron, which came out that week, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. But physical sales were 80% less than on Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So maybe they didn't get the return on it they were expecting. That they were going to get Insane Trilogy numbers, and they didn't. It did well. It just didn't do that well. And you know, the nostalgia wave did follow through.
Yeah. Which is what people always worry with these things.
Or maybe it's just as simple as we've got all these people, we don't have another game for them to work on yet. We'll just move them over to Call of Duty for the moment until they've come up with a new game to work on.
I don't think that's it, but
we can hope.
Yeah, this is. I mean, look, Activision says there's no layoffs. You have a bunch of people on Twitter saying that there is layoffs. So, I mean, decide what you want to believe there. I'm gonna go with the real people tweeting rather than the corporate message saying that this isn't a thing.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, on the back of what was the other studio that they moved over to Diablo 2?
No. Vicarious Visions.
Vicarious Visions. Are they off the remake trail? Obviously, it's been very successful. Why aren't they still mining their old IPs? Do they not have any? Well, I guess technically they are by doing a Diablo 2 reboot, but or remake, or whatever. But you know, you'd think there would be more properties for them to explore, or potentially do a new. In that example, there was a new Tony Hawk, or maybe that's why the numbers for Insane Trilogy didn't do well enough. They don't want new games; they just want nostalgic shit given to them again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I would have never expected Crash 4 to sell as well as Insane Trilogy, let alone when it released, which was just kind of a I don't know. Not it if it released at the start of the year, kind of I don't know, different up against different things. I don't know. But moving the studio onto Call of Duty is the biggest sort of.
Isn't there don't they have 17 studios working on games Call of Duty?
It's not quite, but it might as well be fucking 17. Yeah, and so now to have, I mean, ultimately, all this says is what we already know, which is that Warzone is. They love it. Activision is yeah, fucking Warzone is the
We're all in on Warzone.
Yeah, it's making them a lot of money, obviously. And they're quite happy to move teams like Toys for Bob now onto that to help develop it because that's what's making them money. And they don't. That's it. It's stupid. It doesn't make much. It's a waste of development talent, in my opinion, because Crash 4. I can't remember what I said in my review or whatever, but I think I gave it a 7.5, and I was like, yeah, this feels like, it very much felt like a team kind of both trying to get away from mimicking the past and also finding their own inspirations and ways they would do a platformer like that. And I would have really liked to have seen another Crash game or something, or even a brand new IP platformer where they're we kind of we get what we're doing now. We have our own ideas because Crash 4 is very much sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of situation. But yeah, it just feels like a complete waste of talent and stuff. And given the the Vicarious Vision story and a couple other if you want to count the Ben story in this, it's it keeps seeing these stories about these teams who they don't make the millions and millions of dollars, but they're not making terrible games. Yeah. They're not selling shit either. They're just their games aren't selling the billions that the publishers want. So they go, well, that's it. Off to the coal mine with you, kind of situation.
Yeah.
basically. So it's kind of sad.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's what I said. Like, they don't have anything for them at the moment, so you might as well move them onto something that helps the company as a whole in the meantime, and they'll get their opportunity again in the future.
You can keep your hopes and dreams. I will. I'm not going to be as hopeful.
Listen, you mentioned the Cory Barlog conversation, like, of the documentary, and there was a similar situation. Like, he was working on a team that was developing an idea of God of War, but the whole team didn't get it on until the other project fell through. So he had to suddenly find work for like 100 people.
Mm.
So if they've got no idea that gives people 100 people to work on something, then they're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs.
I mean, they could tell them to make another Crash or something.
What?
Just make another Crash. Make Crash 5.
But you can't make something if you don't have the idea to do something.
Well, you get the green light to start working. Like, game development doesn't start when you're programming. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but the programmer needs some idea of what they're going to be programming.
Yeah, the programmers don't start at first. Like Activision goes, make Crash 5, and they go, cool, whiteboard's out. What are we doing?
But not every single person in the studio is in front of that whiteboard.
No, but I don't know how big. You know what I mean? I don't know how big the actual team is. And it's a bit different. Like when they say they've moved the entire team, like they're not like, because obviously most people in game development are contractors or they're that's my sim moved off or whatever. So it's not like they're like, we've moved a bunch of the team from Toys to Bob to work on Call of Duty in an intermediate between projects. They're like, we've moved Toys for Bob, the entire developer, onto Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that everyone is now on Call of Duty. Top to bottom, we fired the narrative guys. They're gone. Top to bottom, the rest of you.
Well, then, if that's the case, then.
Let's talk about EA. Get off that. Let's stop talking shit about Activision.
Let's talk from one good studio to another good studio.
Let's talk about the shit Activision EA is up to. IGN writes, why leaked documents revealing all roads to FUT? Confirm what many FIFA fans already know. I really wanted to make a joke about how. Anyway, quote, we do not push people to spend in our games. End quote. EA said in a new statement today, a forceful retort to internal documents leaked to CBC that nevertheless appear to suggest the opposite. EA's comments were part of a lengthy multi-part statement published on its official site. They follow a CBC report published earlier this morning in which EA expresses the desire to, quote, funnel, end quote, players towards its heavily monetized FIFA Ultimate Team mode, which it refers to as the game's cornerstone. Quote, players will be actively messaged plus incentivized to convert throughout this summer. End quote. A bullet on a leaked slide reads. Another headline put it more simply, quote, all roads lead to FUT. The extensive report includes comments from gambling experts as well as an anonymous insider who told CBC, quote, for years they've been able to act with a layer of plausible deniability, yet in their internal documents they're saying, this is our goal. We want people driven to the card pack mode. End quote. EA has insisted that FUT isn't gambling since at least 2018, even as countries have considered legislation against microtransactions, and Belgium has banned them outright. FIFA is consistently one of the world's highest grossing franchises, but headlines are riddled with stories of players spending thousands of dollars trying to get a player. The card collecting mode in which players open packs to obtain real-world stars for their ultimate team was first introduced in 2009 as a downloadable add-on. It subsequently became one of EA's most consistent moneymakers, quickly becoming one of the single biggest drivers over FIFA's online culture. The FIFA calendar is now driven by events like Futmas, in which players are encouraged to obtain versions of stars like Arturo Vidal. Football, FIFA. What it was. I know that guy. You know, I'm a big soccer fan. But while popular FIFA fans have complained that Foot has overtaken more traditional modes like online team play and career mode, Reddit threads like this one are very common. Petition to hashtag fix career mode garnered more than 8,000 signatures. Foot is also notorious money sink compared to even other Ultimate Team modes. Players and influencers alike have consistently complained about worsening rewards from modes like Weekend League, where the reward for grinding through 30 games is typically a handful of packs and undesirable players. A popular Reddit thread showed the number one Weekend League player in the world receiving almost nothing for his efforts. What's more, extremely low pack odds make it very difficult to obtain top-end players. The chances of obtaining an event player is frequently less than 1%. So when the story broke, I was like, we're all aware of this, aren't we? Like, who still sits there?
Wow, who's surprised by this?
Yeah, I was like, who's surprised by this? But I think it's important, obviously, that these documents have leaked to show that, you know,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, like, it is sort of the nail in their coffin because, as this article points out, for a long time EA was like, we're not like, it's just, you want to spend money, like, it's just a mode, like, it's just chill out, like, it's not gambling, it's not gambling, like, it's just for fun, you know, it's just funsies, stuff like that. So to have a bunch of leaked documents where they straight up in their plans going, look, the rest of the game, cool story. The rest of FIFA this year, cool story. Like, everyone should be pushed by in-game messages or notifications or whatever. They should be pushed into playing this mode because this is the mode where they will get addicted and spend money on trying to buy packs and open packs. Which doesn't surprise me at all because that's kind of what we've seen the narrative for this game and several others, I mean, grow over the time. But how do you feel as the person who actually would play these games? Because I don't, but
as a gamer, I'm like, it's fine. I mean, I don't know. As someone who's not dedicated to buying FIFA every single year, it's like, well, I'll wait till they realize the error of their ways, or there's some sort of upgrade that makes it worthwhile.
They were never going to realize the error of their ways as they were making millions and millions of dollars. That's not how it works.
From a business sense, you can't fault them. Like, they're doubling down. They're getting the free to play like money.
Look, I'll agree.
As well as making you pay for the actual game.
From a business point,
every year,
from a grubby, dirty, disgusting business point, then yes, you're right.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's not good business.
I'm sure it's doing solid business.
It's making them money, but
it's not ethical business.
It's not it's not.
It's not ethically great. Yeah, I don't. It's been a known thing. I think that obviously Ultimate Team is where they want people to go and play, even to the extent that like they're trying to push it into Madden and other things. And even NBA 2K, I believe, has like it leaning that way. I don't know if
all those 2K games are leaning that way.
They've got like microtransactions, that kind of thing. I don't know if they've got like the Ultimate Team pack kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, this is clearly where the money is. It's just kind of I think it would be easier to take if it was like a FIFA platform and not yearly games where you're starting from scratch every time.
The other thing that people always bring up, not just FIFA, but it's just general loot boxing games things, which is that it should be properly promoted as like it is gambling, because they try to hide it. You know, that's the other thing they try to be like, well, it's not gambling, like. And then so it's like if you change the way the narrative around these things and the way they're promoted, you should also then these modes should then be properly age restricted, so that like if FIFA's rated G or whatever,
it will be,
yeah. But then if you want to play this mode, you should have to be 15 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there should be these sort of things, and then also I think the third important thing is anything with loot boxes involved. I think should have that the rarity and the chances and the odds just displayed. Yeah, plain information, like straight up. Look, this is how much it costs per pack or whatever. Your chances of getting a legendary or a character or player or whatever, this is 1 in 50. You know what I mean? Like, these are all just the small things that should be changed, but they want to hide all that because they've made the odds really terrible on purpose. It's like, it is literally the worst case of this. It is literally like going to the casino, and the reason you don't gamble at casinos is because your odds are fucking disgusting and terrible, but everyone just knows it and does it anyway. But they're at least public, like, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Just grubby.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it'd be good if the other modes were good. You could be like, oh, okay. Sure, they're funneling me towards it, but I can still play this other mode. And it is good. Like, it's enjoyable. But the other modes are not. They haven't been updated for several years and, like, put any thought into. The last, like, I enjoyed the Journey story modes that they had, say, 17 to 19. And those are the last games that I bought for FIFA, so... after that, it's they had the Volta thing, like the indoor soccer 3v3 thing, which was an interesting to me. So, I don't know. Will we? Does this open the door up for Pez to grab back market share? Not really, because I believe they're doing the same. They're trying to do the same kind of thing, but
that's a problem.
Konami's behind it, so
that's a problem, because I was going to say the reason these things happen and nothing changes is because they have no competition, but it doesn't help when they're only competition. Instead of trying to make a superior game that just plays better, and then everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, you've got all the modes and everything that I want, and I just want to play the actual game. Instead of doing that, they're like, oh fuck, we better become what they are. They're like, what? Why? What?
Yeah. Except we don't have the licenses, so it's just tough.
Yeah, it's a bit stupid, but
yeah, it's a tricky one.
I mean, even Australia recently has still been going on more about this loot box and gambling and all that sort of stuff. So it would be crazy if we're in the world, but like they're like, FIFA's banned. Like, the game is banned in Australia because you're not like against the legislation that Australia put through that said, if you have loot boxes in your game, you've got to properly display odds and all this sort of stuff that they've been talking about. You know, you've got to have proper age rating. And if FIFA didn't do that, it'd be crazy. One morning we're like, latest game banned in Australia? FIFA 2022. Like, like FIFA 2023, whatever.
You can say that, but people will be upset that they're limiting my choices. They're not letting me gamble on this, not gamble. You know?
I mean, I know that's the narrative.
Listen, all I want to do in my video games is spend money and take drugs.
Well, yeah. No.
Why can't the classification board let me?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that would be the narrative, but that this would be if a scenario like that happened where FIFA got banned, that would be one of those. It would be one of the times where I'm like,
okay, it's for the greater good.
Yeah,
is what
like.
But they're not going to do that because they don't really care.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. If other countries around the world start doing it, we'll see, Scott Morrison's not in charge of everything. I'm sure if he could, he would just fucking ban all videos.
He'd ask his wife what she feels about it.
Yeah, that's true. And last quick story I wanted to go before talk about Snap in a minute. Yeah, I just found this hilarious because it's been so long since this has happened, I swear. But Shannon over at Press Start writes, a JB Hi-Fi store has apparently sold Resident Evil Village on PS5 a whole week early. Street date breaks used to be a thing within Australia, but not so much anymore. This hasn't stopped at least one JB Hi-Fi store in New South Wales from apparently selling Resident Evil Village on PS5 an entire week early on Friday afternoon. Yes?
You say this hasn't been a thing for a while. I believe there were like several games that broke street date last year.
No, they were all agreed. By the local retail, like Final Fantasy and everything. That was all.
Yes. That
wasn't street break. That was the local distributor or whatever going like, just do it. Like Final Fantasy it's releasing on a public holiday. COVID's in effect. What do we do? And then they were like, just put them out. They sent that from message through, put it up. That wasn't your typical street date. When I think street date, I think exactly what this story which is, as the story continues, it says a member of the Aussie PS5 Facebook group posted a photo of a sealed copy of the game on the PS5, along with a receipt from a JB Hi-Fi store. At least 2 people were able to grab the game off the shelves and walk out of the store with purchasing it. So this is what used to happen all the time, where stores would just put stock out because someone would sell it. Like, I remember years ago, and I'm talking PS3 era. PS3 era, this used to happen all the time. I would literally say to people, hey, I hope it breaks street. I used to say, I hope it breaks street date. Or like, I used to like kind of look at the clock on it, like, because often games would break street date like maybe 2-3 days early, like quite regularly. And I remember looking forward to a game and it would be like Tuesday and the game was releasing on Friday, and I'd be like, oh, I wonder if it's going to release today or tomorrow. Like, that's how used to it at the time I was, that games were breaking street date, because it was happening so often. And it was always some motherfucker at Target put them out early. Someone put them out at Kmart early. Someone put them out at JB Hi-Fi early. And then as soon as that happened, I used to sit on the EB Games Facebook page. As soon as someone posted it, I would head down to my local EB Games and be like, look, straight dates break. You got it? Got it? Got it? Selling here? They're like, and they'll be like, are we selling it here? I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe they are. Do you want me to go and buy it there? Like, like street dates break, motherfucker. Sometimes I'd get there and be like, have you heard? And someone would be like, yeah, we just got the message. Because they wouldn't put the stock out, because they just got permission at EB to, you could sell. Because I remember I've told the story before, I think, where I got my copy of Batman Arkham City, and it didn't come with my. I can't remember what I've told the story before, but I already forgot.
So you bought the collector's edition.
Yes, yeah, and they didn't have the
collector's edition. Didn't break street date.
That's it. Collector's edition did not break street date, but the game street date broke, and I wasn't missing out on the fun with everyone else playing, right? So I went to the store. I said, "Hey, street date's broke." The guy said, and this was like 4 days earlier. I think that's how early it was. And like the guy was like, street date is broke. We don't have the collector's editions yet. They're not actually in. They haven't arrived. We have normal copies. And the guy gave me a normal copy. I took it home, played for those several days. And then when release day rolled around, I went back in and picked up my regular copy and gave him back the copy he gave me. Did a switcheroo. Shush. Yeah. Don't tell anyone, listeners. Never happened. So yeah, this shit used to happen all the time. So it's been a while since this has happened. And I'm actually not surprised.
I don't know. I feel like we see one or two, because not everyone is selling Resident Evil Village right now.
No. Well, it never.
No. So you see the occasional one or two people pick it up. Someone shuts it down.
I'll clarify. This game hasn't broke street break. You cannot walk into EB Games and pick it up as you're listening to this. So this isn't an official street date.
I think
break.
Free for alls are over.
Yeah, this is. But it's been a while since I've seen a big game be sold by JB or EBU, like a game of substance.
I will say we did get inside information that this game shipped into stores earlier than expected.
Yes, I was about to mention that and say that was probably a big reason between this happening, because you know what's happened is someone's seen a box. Because this is how it always used to happen in Target and Kmart and stuff. Someone would see a box of games, they'll go, I'll put them out, and they'll put them out, and then they would get sold. And that's
those. I've got somebody at my work who doesn't like having boxes kept out the back and just start putting stuff out before it's ready to be put out. Yeah. So it was one of those cases, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
This hasn't been invoiced yet.
Yes, and our inside information.
It's not the system.
Which was that JB Hi-Fi got Resident Evil Village quite earlier than apparently they would normally receive video games. So that is exactly why. Like with that, we had that information several days prior to this, and then when this story broke, I was like, well, that's why, isn't it? Like, because they had the game sitting there, and someone was like, well,
so what you're saying is it's the developer,
it's whoever's...
Who's the publisher?
Capcom. Huh?
It's Capcom's fault. Why are shipping things?
No, I mean...
Well, it's Australia Post's fault for actually shipping it on time instead of delaying it like they expected.
How dare they? That's right. Anyway, funny story. Resident Evil Village, out this week.
Yep.
I'll be playing it, that's for sure.
Really?
Yep, can confirm. I will be playing it. right, and what we've been playing, there's only I'll say I haven't been playing more than one thing. Like, I'm playing Returnal. I've only played 90 minutes. I'm not really going to talk about it here. If you want to hear my thoughts on Returnal, go listen to this week's upcoming episode on Wednesday. Platinum Explosion, I'm sure I'll be talking about it on there. So I have been playing that, but I've also been playing new Pokemon Snap. Don't know why I turned it to a theme song, but I did. And it's both very good, and the negatives are exactly what I thought they would be. So it's everything I hoped it would be, and nothing more. And that's my one-line review so far. I've played a couple hours. It is very cute. It is very repetitive. It is got great visuals. It's got a confusing scoring system. Like, it is like for every sort of plus, I sort of have a bit of a negative at the same time. And in case you don't know the core gameplay, it is an on-rails photography game. So you load into a level. There will be Pokemon around you that you can take pictures of. And every time you load back into that same level, the Pokemon will be on the exact same route. Like, they will be, like, they'll get up at the same time or whatever else. Now, you can unlock things to have them respond differently. Like, you can unlock things to throw at them and all this sort of stuff. And that will sort of change up the way they interact in that level. Once you've leveled up a level, because that's other sort of confusing thing, you have to play through the level to level it up, which lets you unlock different versions of that level, which has different Pokemon or different variations of the Pokemon, or like even a nighttime version of the level, which has different Pokemon, of course. Like, for example, in the first level, there's a Hoot sitting in a tree, but it's asleep. Go to the nighttime version of the level, the Hoot's now awake, it's sitting on the ledge. So it's like the very simple sort of things like that. And you sort of have to replay the same level over and over and over several times to try and, like, you may notice the first time you play it that you're like, oh, fuck, a Pokemon just appeared out of the bush for like 2 seconds, but I wasn't aware, kind of thing, you know? So you replay it, and then when you get to that part of the track, your camera ready, pops up, cool, picture, gotcha, off I go, kind of thing. My biggest complaint, though, is the scoring system is just confusing, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, so you can take, I think it's 75 pictures, right? In a level. If I finish the level, you end of the track, you get them scored. Or if you use up all 75 photos, the professor dude or whatever will be like, cool, come back, we'll check out your pictures. Now, there is an auto system, and that's what I've been using most of the time. But if you want to manually, you can pick one picture per Pokemon to have scored. What makes this more confusing is that there are 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star levels for each different Pokemon, and the stars aren't the score, Ash, right? Try and keep up with me.
Yeah. Okay.
The stars are like a tier, and each of those tiers then have a score. So you can have a 2-star bronze, 3-star gold, 1-star silver picture. So it's very confusing because when the game starts, it says, hey, you've got a 1-star. And I was like, oh, that's not a very good picture. But then they're like, it's not actually meaning the way you probably think about stars. The stars aren't actually a score. It's like a different tier. In fact, if you want to complete the game's photo decks, you have to get a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star picture to fill the photography album. Then you can get each of those ranked at platinum levels, like better versions of the 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star photos. If this sounds confusing to you and you haven't played the game, it's not much more less confusing to me as someone who's playing the fucking game, to be completely honest. So this is my biggest problem. The scoring system is just sort of silly. I don't really understand it. It makes no sense. There's just too many.
So if you get a 5-star whatever, does it unlock all the 1-star,
Nope.
2-star, 4-star? No.
So this is what I'm saying.
So you need to take a bunch of shitty photos
Yeah,
to get up to.
this. Yeah, so this is the annoying thing. So let's say you take a really good photo of a Dodrio, and they go, it is a platinum 4-star. To complete your photo decks, you'll then have to take a slightly less interesting 3-star photo, a slightly less interesting 2-star photo, and then a pretty boring 1-star photo. And if you manage to take all 4 in one run, doesn't matter. You can only get one. You can only pick one to save.
So you need to do it at least 4 times.
Yep. So it doesn't matter if you take
4 separate trips.
Yes. So it doesn't matter if you get all 4 in one go. You only pick. This is the thing that I think annoys me the most. If they had
sounds like forced replayability.
Very much. Because they've. I think it's done on purpose because they're like, well, you'll have to replay the levels to sort of grind them up to unlock the different variations of the levels. So they're
sounds like they're trying to reward mediocreness.
Well, I don't know.
It's like, yeah, you took a shitty photo, but it's a gold star finish. It's a platinum shitty photo.
Basically, it's just very weird.
Yeah.
I think it would kind of be less confusing if they were literally like, if they would call it anything but stars. I think that's the other thing that I just find very annoying. It's one through to 4-star. I'm like, but it's not a rank. Like, well, they are ranking. Like to a degree, they are ranking. They're saying the 1-star photo of the Pikachu is not as interesting as what you need to do to get the 4-star photo of Pikachu. However, because you can get
we need the 1-star.
Yeah, we need the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. But because you can get the 1-star then ranked as a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, and the 4-star ranked as a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, then it becomes very confusing. I think,
Is it easy to get the 4 and 5-star platinums before the 1-star?
I've done it a couple times.
I would understand if it was like you need to get all the 1-star platinums before you can unlock tools to let you get the 2-star.
Some you do, I think. Yes.
See, there's your thing then.
It's just it's just
you
a
have
weird.
To go back like a Metroidvania.
Yeah, it's just a weird ranking system. I'm not particularly liking the ranking system. So after spending that long complaining,
so what you're saying is you're not going to 100 complete this game.
Yeah, I doubt it because I got other shit to do. But without all that complaining, because that's my biggest complaint so far, I'm enjoying it. It is cute. It is cute. It is fun. However, if you're looking for like, if this, what this game is what I'm trying to say. You know what the game is. It's taking pictures of Pokemon. If that doesn't sound fun to you, then straight away the answer is no matter how much my complaints or positives about the ranking system are, you're either going to like this game or you're not going to like this game. Like you should kind of know straight away. I think it's the most enjoyable aspect of the game is just spotting, like finding the rarities, like finding the rare things or weird things, interactions happening between the Pokemon. Like for example, in the first level, as soon as you spawn into the level, there's I think it's a Pichu and someone else. I can't remember who it is. Jeez, I can't even remember. Anyway, there's 2 Pokemon playing with one another, and they sort of chase each other through the level. At different points, you can follow them throughout the track, and they'll pop up. In the nighttime version, it's Score Bunny. At the start of the level, he's running around at nighttime, and you can sort of track him because he's leaving fire behind him as he runs around, and he'll pop up throughout the level several times. And you don't really need to take a photo of him at all opportunities to even get the starring system going correctly, but it's just fun to sort of track him as what's going on. There's several times where I would, I'd be coming around a corner and I'd turn around 180 and there's like a secret Pokemon sitting in the corner there. Like, I'm like, oh, cool, get a snap of that. When you do get cool pictures and you get out of the level and you can sort of reframe them if you want, and of course they've promoted you can take on stickers and all that sort of stuff. That's all great. Like, and I've already uploaded some to my online profile. I was looking through my everyone on my friends list who's uploaded, and I was looking at their pictures, giving them likes, and I was looking through, like, it has like the top ranked photos at the moment. I was looking through some of those, and that's all really great and that's really fun. And that is the part I'm enjoying the most about the game. The reason I'll keep enjoying it, because there's that fun to be had. Aside from the system being sort of just nonsensical, the rating system, I just find it quite annoying. It is grindy to a degree. Like there was a part there where you start the game and you play a level, and they're like, cool, here's another thing. You play a different level, then you play it again, then you get nighttime level, blah blah blah. And by the time I got to like the boss encounter, if you want to call it that, which is basically a Luminaire Pokemon. You sort of have to just do one level where you're taking pictures of that one particular Pokemon. Then they're like, okay, cool, go take some photos until I'm ready to talk to you again. The professor, whatever his name says to me. I'm like, cool. So then I just ended up playing the same level like 3 or 4 times over and over until I leveled it up again. And then the professor's like, oh, I've got to talk to you now. I'm like, okay, well, I kind of just wish there was more levels. Like I wish that the grinding of the levels to unlock better places to take pictures of Pokemon was still here for the people who want to 100% it and want to, like complete the full photo decks of all the photos. I just wish for the people who just want a more fun 6-hour full Pokemon Snap experience I just wish you didn't have to grind. Like, I just wish people who don't want to do that could just gone from level to level, new location, it's fun, exciting, new Pokemon. Oh, nighttime version, that's exciting. Instead of being like, oh, ground to halt, got to replay the same level 4 times now to grind the level up. And I know this is what it was like in the original, but at the same time, it's a mechanic that feels like it's from the 90s because dated. It is.
Yeah.
It's just a weird mechanic to carry over when you're making I know it's in the title. They're like, it's new Pokemon Snap, as in it's a new version of the game. It's still the same. New. Yeah. I'm like, well, like visually, it looks really, really good. Like this is probably the best you'll see Pokemon like this, like in a 3D environment and everything. Like they look really, really good. I've had one Pokemon spoiled for me. Not that I particularly care. I don't even know if it matters. Like, no, it's just like, I'm going to spoil it now. So if you skip ahead 30 seconds, if you don't know this, it's not like
you're spoiling that a Pokemon's in the game.
It's not a legendary. It's nothing like that. So anyway, I just saw someone said that in one of the levels I haven't got to yet, there's a Whale Lord, right? Which is the biggest Pokemon in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah, I know who did that.
Yeah. And I'm not throwing Joe under the bus because I did see it wasn't him. I saw it before him. So, but he would have spoiled it if it wasn't for someone else. I mean, it's not something that actually bothers me. It's more so of a, like, because of how good the Pokemon look and how, like, you're seeing everything to scale. I'm looking forward to that because I'm like, well, how the fuck do they make Whale Lord like fit into these levels? Like, is that one level where you're just like going across a beach? It's like, well, there's Whale Lord. Like
pops up.
Yeah, it pops up for a second in the distance.
It's like an actual whale cruise where they just dive out the water.
It's just fucking huge. So, all of that's great. Like this is, you can zoom in. The creatures, everyone looks great. Like the animations, all that stuff look great. It's like that's the thing. Like visually, from a cuteness factor, if you want to include that, from a like photography point of view, like being able to reframe photos, adjust the focus, upload them, or take them off your Switch. I've got that fucking printer thing coming whenever that releases in a couple of weeks after this. I have some fun with that. I just think from a core gameplay perspective, like the grind, the unnecessary forcefulness of the grindiness for people who may or may not want to complete their Pokedexes and that sort of stuff, I just find sort of obtuse. Like it just doesn't feel like it was necessary. Like, why did you have to rush? Why is that necessary? Just add a new level. I know it kind of sounds stupid for me to be like, developers just add a new level, but I don't mean it. I just mean there was no reason for the game to be rushed out. Like, you could just, you know what I mean? Like, just add more variety. Like, why am I having to grind? It's just a bit silly. So, in that regard, I'll also say that it makes me not want to play the game for like 6 hours straight. Because like when I had to grind today and I had to play the same level 4 times, I was like, I wouldn't mind doing this later, like maybe after I've completed the game, and then I could sort of like rotate between all the unlocked levels and sort of grind up their things. But because I'm being forced to play the same level or the same variation, like I could have grinded the daytime or the nighttime version, I guess. But either way, it's the same level at day or night. There's slight variations. I'm just like, I'm being forced. I just kind of wish there was a different level that I was moving on to by now, but yeah. So I don't know if it sounds like I hate this or like it. I would say I'm in the middle. I'm not. If I was to throw a score on it after my few hours, it'd be like around I don't know, like a 6 to a 7 currently. You know what I mean? Like, which on our scale is, it's okay. I'm definitely not in the, it was getting a lot of 8s from other people I saw in the embargo rate. I'm definitely not at an 8. I can't see myself going up because I know the gameplay, like the core stuff isn't going to change. Like maybe I'll get to some moments later where I'm like, fuck, that was a really cool level where this Pokemon popped up and like did all these things or whatever. But I'm looking forward to all that. That's exciting. But I just think from a core mechanical perspective, there's some odd choices made to go, well, people wanted a new Pokemon Snap game, so let's just sort of update the same game and keep, we'll make it look really pretty and all these sorts of things, but we'll keep the core mechanics that don't really work in the year 2021, you know? So I think it would be, if you're looking into picking it up, my advice would be just play it in bursts, honestly. Like it's not, it's just like, it's probably better played in half-hour to hour increments rather than trying to play it like rush through the story or something like that. So yeah. Any questions on that or anything?
No.
That is Pokemon Snap. That is also the podcast for the week. Got there at the end. Let us know any comments, questions, or concerns you have, or if you're playing any of the games we talked about, let us know what you thought. You can join our Discord.
What other games do you want photography added?
Yeah, what games do you want photography added to? Sure, go with that. Let us know by heading to our Discord, explosionout.com/Discord. Let us know on the Twitters by tweeting at any of us, explosionout.com/Twitter. And if you like this episode and you would like to support us, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support us. You can either find links to buying merch or dropping us $1 or subscribing for a monthly $1, whatever you'd like to do to help us out via our Ko-fi page there. All the links on that page. It's handy. It's very nice. They're all there. And until next week, same time, same couch. Maybe Kieran's back? I don't know. I think who knows, right? But bye! Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.